I wake up before the alarm, not because I'm rested, but because the room is too quiet. Not peaceful quiet, controlled quiet. The kind that exists because someone outside the door is paid to make sure nothing unpredictable reaches me. It takes a few seconds to remember. Then it lands all at once. My name is on the phone screen, full name, official title underneath it. President of Germany, head of state. The role that comes with flags, history, and consequences. Yesterday, I was just a person with opinions. Today, those opinions are apparently policy adjacent. I haven't even sat up yet, and the world has already adjusted itself around me. When I do sit up, the door opens immediately. No knock, no question. A man in a suit pretends this is normal. Another one hands me a tablet like it's an extension of my body. Messages stack on the screen faster than I can read them. Briefings, condolences, requests, warnings. Everything urgent, everything important. Everything somehow waiting for me specifically. I haven't said a word. People are already reacting. Security appears in places I didn't know could hold people. Corners, hallways. Silence has manpower now. Even my hesitation feels supervised. Someone asks how I slept, but they're not really asking. They're measuring me. I walk down the corridor, and doors open before I reach them, not because I asked, because I exist differently today. That's the unsettling part. Not the power itself, the speed. Authority arrives fully formed, like a suit tailored for someone else, and everyone insists it fits me perfectly. I didn't earn this confidence they project onto me. I didn't survive campaigns or decades of compromise. I went to bed as myself and woke up as a symbol. And symbols don't get to be unsure. My phone vibrates again. A sentence I haven't finished reading could move markets or offend a country. A joke could become a headline. Silence could be interpreted as strategy. Every word now weighs more than my actual understanding of the situation, which is minimal at best. There's an assistant explaining a decision that needs to be made quickly. I nod because nodding buys time. Inside, there's a quiet panic. Not fear, something colder. The awareness that I am being treated as competent by default, and that assumption alone is dangerous. Germany's history hums in the background of every interaction. Guilt, pride, restraint, moral authority, concepts people debate for decades, are suddenly implied in my posture, my tone, my facial expressions. I'm expected to carry all of it effortlessly, like it's muscle memory. I haven't had coffee yet. Power didn't ask if I was ready. It just showed up, rearranged the room, and started taking notes on everything I do wrong. By mid-morning, I stop pretending this day will be spent responsibly. Not because I want to be reckless, but because responsibility here is mostly theater, carefully managed silence, approved concern, statements that say nothing while sounding heavy. I didn't borrow this power to preserve its etiquette, so I start by doing the simplest forbidden thing. I speak too honestly. In the first meeting, I interrupt a briefing halfway through and say that everyone in the room already knows which policies work and which ones survive purely because admitting failure would embarrass the wrong people. The room freezes. Not outrage, confusion. Honesty lands like a technical error. Someone laughs politely, assuming it's a joke. I don't correct them. The remark appears online 20 minutes later as a sharp critique, then as a strategic signal, then as a deeply concerning statement. None of those were my intention. Intent doesn't survive authority. Later, I refuse the camera. There's a scheduled visit, refugee housing, very photogenic, very safe. I cancel the press and go anyway. No entourage, no prepared lines, just conversations that don't get edited. I help a woman fill out a form that should have been simple years ago. I carry boxes. Someone recognizes me and asks why this isn't being filmed. I tell them because it would ruin it. That sentence becomes a problem. Headlines speculate. Commentators ask what I'm hiding. Apparently, doing something quietly is suspicious when power does it. At lunch, I break another rule. I say I don't want to eat with donors, lobbyists, or advisors. I walk into a public cafeteria and sit where there's space. I pay for my food. I eat badly. This becomes news. Analysts debate whether the meal signals economic anxiety, populism, or a strategic rejection of elites. One channel runs a graphic comparing my tray to national GDP trends. I choke on a potato and realize symbolism is automatic now. I could trip and it would be read as policy. In the afternoon, I give a speech without permission, not an official one, no teleprompter, no consensus language. I say Germany's obsession with appearing morally resolved has become a way to avoid present responsibility. I say historical guilt is important, but it's not a personality. I say progress isn't real if it only exists in reports and anniversaries. Silence follows. Then chaos. Some call it brave, others call it dangerous. A few demand clarification. I don't provide any. Clarification would soften it. The sentence spreads faster than context ever could. I start noticing a pattern. Truth itself isn't powerful. Placement is. The same words spoken yesterday by someone else would have been ignored or mocked. Spoken today, they're dissected, amplified, feared. Not because they're better, but because they passed through the right mouth. Influence doesn't create meaning. It selects which meaning survives. I lean into that discomfort. I ignore advisors telling me to walk it back. I don't. I post a single sentence online, plain, unpolished, almost careless. It trends globally within minutes. People project entire belief systems onto it. Some thank me for saying what they always felt. Others accuse me of betrayal. I read both and realize neither group is really responding to me. They're responding to the authority stamp attached to my name. Even mistakes become valuable now. I misspeak during a press interaction. Not a scandal-level mistake, just human imprecision. The correction cycle explodes. Experts debate my phrasing like it's scripture. The original point disappears entirely. The discussion becomes about tone, delivery, intention. Substance is optional when power is involved. By evening, the amusement fades. What disturbs me isn't backlash. It's how quickly reality bends. How easily institutions reorganize themselves around a single voice. How many people wait for permission to believe something they already know. I didn't change the truth today. I changed its visibility. And that's the part I can't unsee. Power didn't make me wiser. It made my words louder and my silences heavier. It turned ordinary actions into events and normal thoughts into threats. It taught me that influence doesn't reward accuracy. It rewards confidence and timing. As the day ends, I understand something uncomfortable. This system doesn't need better leaders. It needs fewer moments where one person's voice becomes a shortcut for meaning. Because once that happens, reality stops being shared. It becomes managed. Tomorrow, this power disappears. The distortion it revealed doesn't. The last hours arrive without ceremony. No countdown, no announcement. Just a subtle thinning of attention. Phones still buzz, but the messages feel less urgent, as if the system already knows I'm expiring. I sit in an office that doesn't belong to me and finally stop pretending it ever did. The chair is comfortable in the way borrowed things always are, designed for long-term use by someone else. I try to imagine waking up here every day, knowing that every gesture must be intentional, every sentence defensible, every silence strategic. The thought alone is tiring. What surprises me is how quickly the protection starts to loosen. Not physically, they're still there, but psychologically. Fewer people rush to anticipate my needs. Fewer apologies for interrupting me. Authority leaks out before it's officially gone. Power, apparently, can smell its own departure. I realize something mildly humiliating. Tomorrow, none of this will care what I think. Today, a half-formed idea could hijack a news cycle. Tomorrow, that same idea will sit quietly in my head like it always did, unquoted and unbothered. Doors that opened automatically will require explanations again. Opinions will go back to being personal instead of symbolic. I'll return to the exhausting freedom of irrelevance. There's a strange relief in that. Fame didn't solve anything today. It just replaced ordinary problems with ceremonial ones. Instead of worrying about being misunderstood by a few people, I was misunderstood by millions. Instead of insecurity, there was surveillance. Instead of loneliness, there was constant company that never felt like presence. I was never alone, and I was never unseen. That combination is more suffocating than it sounds. I make one last walk through the building, slower now. Staff members smile politely, already adjusting their posture for whoever comes next. That's not cruelty, it's efficiency. Power moves on, people adapt. I did the same. I joke, quietly, to myself that borrowing power for one day is easy. Anyone could do it. The hard part is carrying it without letting it hollow you out. The performance never stops. Even sincerity becomes an act. Especially sincerity. As night settles in, I understand the real trick of influence. It convinces you that you matter more than you do, and less than you hope. It inflates your voice while shrinking your interior life. It gives you access and takes your privacy as payment. Tomorrow I'll wake up somewhere ordinary. No suits outside the door, no messages that need to be answered immediately. My words will go back to their original weight, light, disposable, human. And that's the unsettling part. Nothing I said today will suddenly become false when the title disappears. The truths won't change. Only their reach will. Which means the system wasn't listening to truth at all. It was listening to the badge. I returned to normal life, with less faith and power, less envy for fame, and a sharper awareness of how uneven attention really is. Influence is temporary. Distortion isn't. And the quiet tomorrow feels heavier than all the noise today. Disclaimer. This video is a fictional, satirical thought experiment created for entertainment and reflection. It does not represent the real thoughts, actions, intentions, beliefs, or private life of the individual or public office referenced. Any scenarios, dialogue, or perspectives shown are imagined and symbolic, used solely to explore broader themes of fame, power, authority, and social influence. This content is not a factual account, endorsement, or critique of any real person, government, or institution. The purpose is conceptual commentary on how power shapes perception and behavior, not a depiction of real events or individuals.